Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. A little bit of a later start this morning on a very gloomy once again morning. It is great though because I get a full night of sleep when it's nice and dark. So we are ready to roll. And what do we have on over here on the Krown application? Well, we do see that the Bitcoin dominance actually creeping up a little bit once again, only almost up to about 59%, which is about the highest that I've seen it in quite some time, which is still suggestive that some altcoins must be doing well versus the Satoshi pair. And while Bitcoin essentially holds a range between 10,000 and 11,000, I have yet to see which ones those are though. So if you do happen to know which ones they are, I'm guessing it's all this like very obscure DeFi type stuff. Definitely actually let me know some of them because I do want to check some of them out because where is this being driven from is a real question. Anyways, open interest looking like it's come down about another 40 million or so, as we do see it back off from the 2.1.5 billion marker down all the way to just about 2 billion even over the last few days. And what do we see on the fear and greed index? Also ticking up a few points, as well as Bitcoin performs a little bit of a bouncy bounce off that 10,300-ish region that we spoke about a couple days ago as well, up to a 43, still within the fearful zone. Here's if anything is present on the data tab that is a warning or a not warning. We do see that the futures premium is actually dissipating a little bit here, which you would expect during potentially the beginning of a downtrend, on a higher term time frame. What else do we see on the funny rate? We've actually seen it go negative for the first time in a while as well. With the last time that we've actually seen it we actually have not seen it negative ever since we started recording data for this, which was back in June. So this is the first time in a very, very long time that the global funny rate has gone below zero. Now, of course, this is the global funny rate. It's taken an average of all the major exchange rates. So there might have been rogue exchanges here and there over the last few months as well that have gone below zero, but we're just talking about on the whole because we want to get a good bird's eye view. And so this is the first time that we've actually seen that flip. Now again, just with it being negative 0.1%, or sorry, negative 0.01%, that is nothing. Just like 0.01% is nothing as well. It's really not until we get a little bit deeper into like negative 0.1% where we probably do start to know a very, very high chance of having major local lows being put in. Now I have seen that go even further than that, but good kind of rule of thumb. We saw the same thing over here at 12,500 above 0.12%, as you can see. Anyways, going to the actual price action charts themselves, what do we see over here? We do see a lot of things actually. Bitcoin opening and closing its first daily doodle below the cyan 89 exponential average for the first time in like the last couple of weeks, it looks like. More importantly than this though, we have kind of played out the short-term time frame balance that we were speaking about yesterday. We did say, or sorry, I guess over the past few days, we did say that a move down to about 10,300-ish region, which by the way on GDAX right here is actually went like another $100 lower, so fair enough. But all the exchanges are to about 10.3. I'm just using this as my fresh chart because apparently this question gets asked quite often, but not necessarily because I love the chart or anything like that. No, I just have a fresh one right here. I like to keep my my BitMexican chart nice and clean, or maybe more dirty than anything else, as that's where I do my usual charting on. So when I'm doing these videos, I'll typically do it on like GDAX or something. Anyways, looking at this right here, yes, we did test, I believe, the top side liquid zone for the very short-term timeframes, and yeah, actually right to the fucking T there too. About 10,575. Okay, it doesn't always work out that perfectly, but I'll just put in a nice little blue box there because why the hell not? Have it nice and color-coded because I'm a visual person and I need it. Anyways, looking at this right here, and I want to be checking out on the momentum oscillator and seeing if there's anything obvious right now, anything of note that would suggest that we're going to put in a local high right here. And looking at Caretaker's RSI, do we see any local high being formed right now? No, and that is correct because this is not a local high as it is. We need to see it either have a nice quick stop and reverse point, which we have not confirmed just yet. If we get another 4-hour doodle closure below the 10 simple, that will certainly happen. But as long as we kind of hold above there, can't really make too much out of that. It's nothing. It's butt kiss. We do see 4-hour momentum oscillators turning back up, turning back north here. This is going to be testing around the edge of the bearish control zone. So if bears do want to take control back on over, I would be looking for it to hit that region in like the next tick, at most 2 ticks. So we'll actually see this in the next 3 hours and at most like 7 hours, I guess. And then we could actually define this, if this is going to be a local high or not. Problem is though, is that if you are going to be looking at it as such, we don't have any sort of divergences forming regardless of the fact. And if we were to look for divergences forming, we'd probably have to go down to the very, 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 very low term time frames. But while we are here, I do want to see what the reverse Stochastic indicator cross does say, because remember, we are very close to the edge of the bearish control zone. So if bears are going to take over like sooner rather than later, then we expect this to actually turn back down around that region. As you can see right here, the the Stoke crossing down level is going to be about 10,420-ish region. Great number, but we are currently about $60 above that region at the current moment in time. Okay, $60 is nothing in 3 hours and 16 minutes. But again, need to see these things happen first and foremost. And then, of course, after that closure, this is going to print a whole new value. Well, a different value. I don't know about a whole new value. Like, it's not going to print like a fucking million, But probably, the numbers will certainly change. So keep that in mind. But if you are watching this kind of in the very early Eastern European morning, then that is what that would suggest. If we go down to the very low term timeframes, like the 3 hour and below, I imagine to see something more or less stacked upon that. We see the same sort of read here on 3 hour Stokes right here coming popping up, and they will be likely testing this trend line over here. Do they test it around the same time that we see the 4 hour test the area that we just spoke about? Perhaps yes, but as you can see right here, as long as we're above 10,320, they will actually still remain to the upside. Problem is though, if that Bitcoin does come back down around there, even close the 3 hour delta below like 10.4, we will actually have we'll have a downtrend, because we'll have a new low on this one. This is gonna be your next high, and guess what? The 3 hour has actually already confirmed a local high on Caretaker's RSI right here, and it rhymes, so it's true, and that's just the way that things work. And my point is, in a more serious tone, is that if we do really start to see this one come back down, do we have any divergences to be aware of here either? No, not really still. So I'd just be going off of momentum right now. To me, the direction is down as long as Bitcoin is basically below 10,600 on a 2 hour closure and above. So going down to a 2 hour, let's see exactly what's coming in around that region. That's a 21 and 200 actually having a bearish cross right there. Not something that I typically pay much attention to, but might as well call it out when it's when it's visual. And what do we see over here? We do see that, yes, this has been confirmed as a local high, and 2 hour RSI does look a lot more inherently bearish than what we see on 3 hour or 4 hour, but still no divergences to be spoken about actually, which is kind of, you would expect to see divergences if we were going to get another test to the downside. Looking at 2 hour Stokes, what do we see over here? Turning down already, and they will remain to the downside as long as we are below essentially the 221 exponential average right here. That is 10,540-ish region. So you can kind of see it caught in a range, and now we're seeing a big differential between like the 3 and 4 and then the 2, and I'm going to guess the 1 as well. So they're not all on the same side, and this is why I do look at all these time frames simultaneously, because if there is something, if there is like big disagreements between them, you can usually it's it's a signal that something else is going on. Looking at the hourly right here, this one again looks a lot more bearish than the other than the 3 and 4. We see that momentum remains to the downside as long as we're closing below 10,530, and that does really solidify this this blue box territory right here as a good area to kind of be managing off of. I'm happy to be short term and medium term bearish as long as we're below there. If Bitcoin does get back above, well, then we can talk about targets back onto the upside. It's going to be basically the same areas that we spoke about to the upside all throughout last week and the week prior to that. 10.8 would be still of relevance. 11.100 would still be of relevance. 350, 11.550, 11.800, and then 12,050 bucks. All the same areas from August. Nothing's really changed there. And if you're wondering if that's if the market's boring, well, it kind of is sometimes. and this one here is is definitely no different. But even with what we're looking at right here, do we have anything that is resembling hidden divergences? Again, I would expect to see something if we were going to come down and like actually make new lows on this run. My look back period on Caretaker's RSI right now is actually a little bit shallow, but if I actually did extend it a little bit more, yes, we would have 1, 2, 3, and we'd have 1, 2, 3 drives correlated with this high. And well, no, I wouldn't. No, that would be of a different kind. No, that would actually not work. Okay, well, that's actually Caretaker's RSI keeping me safe, because I would have been wrong on that one, just blindly looking at it. But again, realistically, as long as we're below 10,500, especially, just looking at the very low term timeframes here, momentum is still to the downside. So I still do favor the another downside test, likely back down to about 10.3, 10.350-ish region, and then we get to play the game of, does Bitcoin want to try another anemic bounce or not? But with that in mind, what we could do over here is we could just mark that area off. Nothing too crazy. It's just 10. I guess it's exactly 10,350 tree right there on the 4 hour. And I could use a 2 hour to kind of manage this one. If Bitcoin does close below 10,350, yeah, I would be looking for the next move down. On a daily base would be about 10,100-ish region. But realistically, that's coming in from this area right here, just our last major daily low. But realistically, anytime that Bitcoin gets around that region, it does seem to like to put a lot of wicks in between that area, 10,100-ish region, and also the 200 exponential average, which is about almost $300 lower. So it's quite the range right there. Now, keep in mind that the daily momentum oscillators are following following through right now. And we did see daily Stokes actually turn down rather aggressively yesterday. And they will remain to the downside as long as Bitcoin is below which level. Where is it at? It is actually literally not just above 10.5 or 10.8, but actually above our last kind of printed high right here at about 11,055 over that Bitcoin did over the weekend on Saturday, Sunday. So keep an eye on that. And by the way, credit to Pig for this one. Really enjoying using this. Really enjoying using this reverse Stochastic indicator cross. I mean, I've been mulling over this idea with it that there's actually something else completely different to it, which at some day I will want to present this, but there's still one more thing that I think I need to figure out before I talk about that one publicly, because it seems to be working, but I want to give it more time. For myself, I like to give things like at least a month of of practice before, or not practice, but practice. You know what I'm saying. But of testing. That's the right word. Before I like kind of talk in public about it. I'm very, very slow in that regard. For me, some people fucking hate it, but hey, man, I've just if you've been around for a while, like you've seen everything work for a little bit of time and then not work for a little bit of time, and you want to like see all these dynamic situations, because well, if you've been trading for even just a year, then you probably know that anything that can happen will happen, and anything that you don't think can definitely not happen will certainly 100% actually happen. Oil went into negative trading this year. For the love of God, like what more do you need? What more do you need? But yeah, looking at the daily right here and looking at daily RSI, does look to me a little bit more downside angled here once again. Denoting a local high right here. I would not agree with that signal right there. But overall, it looks to me like it wants to come back down. Probably test somewhere around the daily 200 exponential moving average, somewhere around like 98 to 9900-ish region. But here's a key critical one. I would not use a wick for downside continuation below the $10,000 level. The only way that I really look for Bitcoin to actually tag lower levels down to like the low 9,000s is if and only if we do start to see daily total closures below about 10,100-ish region, our current closing low right now. And even then, 200 is always going to be an area of interest. To be fair, we've pretty much tested it once, twice, 3, 4 times. How much more times is it going to hold? Probably not that much more, but I don't necessarily like selling into it. So I like to see that area break as well. And then yes, I would be looking for moves down to, $91 and $9,200 base. This is in line with the volume profile point of control right here. Nice and thick AF nodes, which is typically a good sign, at the very least, for a very strong bounce. And, could it be reversal as well? Yes. I mean, on this current run to the downside, there's 3 major areas that I'd be looking for a reversal if I do want to remain long-term macro bullish. The first and foremost is the area that we're kind of dipping into right now, the low 10,000s. That area certainly could be reversal, but it will now not be considered a reversal at all whatsoever as long as Bitcoin is below these closing highs right here, 11,100 region. As long as that condition is not met, this is bearish as far as I look at it on a daily. And more likely to continue downwards. And if we do see that next closure below this region right here, again, of 10,100 region on no less than a daily, we could maybe look at a 12-hour and see what the area there would be. Maybe it's going to be a little bit lower or higher, so that could actually provide a little bit of an enhanced signal. But if that area does fail, then yes, I look towards 9,100. Same sort of implications. Big bounce, very, 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 very likely implied. However, does that mean that it's going to reversal? Well, we'd want to see that one in real time. And then if that area does fail, again below about 9,100 or 9,000, if that just is easier to say, which I think it is, then yes, I'd be looking all the way down towards about 7,500. But that's so far away right now that I don't even really want to speak about it, because turtle soup is nasty. And well, for what it's worth, we should also denote that the 21 and 55 exponential moving average have crossed the downside right here after a small stint to the upside over the weekend, which was classic trappy behavior. This is why over the weekend I was extremely apprehensive. And while, if I was looking at that price action on any given weekday for any old asset, I would have been bullish. Over the weekend on Bitcoin, an asset that trades 24/7 but professionally only trades, during traditional market hours. There you go. And more importantly, we didn't see the same sort of cross hinted at on CMEs over here. In fact, CMEs have remained a negative slope on both of these major moving averages the whole way through. So that suggests that we still have pressure down from that region. And when we kind of combine the two, you can see very likely very quickly that a small fake out right here is really just destined to kind of get in all of the over aggressive traders who might be having their eye on something like this, or who want to look at this as a as a bullish breakout to the upside, which just wasn't. I mean, even looking at this from a bearish retracement, or I guess already have it in there, from a Fibonacci perspective. I mean, this is classic shit. Popping back up to the 0.5 and then getting rejected there over very slow day. On a very anemic push above this level right here. Very low volume, and also just done over the weekend while all this price action was very anemic within this region. That's usually a damn good warning signal. So that's why I was saying that during that time. And more importantly, once you get kind of like a snake around like that, where you get, quick cross, and then quick cross, it's the last one that actually gets the momentum that is on the same side as the trend is usually the one that actually does take over. In this case, that would be, well, we have a high right here, we have a low right here, we have a lower high right here. Does Bitcoin put in a higher low or a lower low here? Well, if it puts in a lower low, then we have a downtrend, and a downtrend is likely to continue. And guess what? Where does that level come in around? 10,100-ish region. So anywhere below there on a daily total closure, we do have a downtrend alongside major moving averages confirming the move, alongside momentum oscillators. Remember looking at our daily Stokes, and also our daily RSI is a little bit more tilted towards the short-term bearish side. But long-term, this is not really like a bearish RSI or anything like that. It's neither really bullish nor bearish. But fair enough. Things are present right now. And I also want to follow up on that 4-hour historical volatility percentile read down around here. Anyways, let's see. Yes. Okay. Still expanding. Okay. So this is great as well. So remember that this whole, I guess I already have it in there. This whole move was a contraction phase born upon the move down to the $10,000 low in early September right here. That was this low right here, about $10,000. And ever since then, we've been into a nice contraction phase. And this one actually broke a little bit sooner than what I would have usually looked for. Statistically, it's more likely to break somewhere around this region right here. That would have been about 5-6 days out from where we are right now. So it's not like that crazy. But more importantly, we're seeing the historical volatility percentile lift up and above and maintain a higher high, which is not only breaking the trend line, the regression that I'm looking at on here, but also the moving average has moved above that as well. So it's suggesting that the breakout is real and that this is an expansion phase. And if we're in an expansion phase as price action is moving down, and that is the trend or the potential trend right now as mediated by the other momentum oscillators that we were looking at, I would say that yes, the downside is more likely here. So fair enough. Again, I would change short term if Bitcoin does close even a 2-hour dodo above 10,600, even maybe 10,550 would be okay. You know what? Yes, it would. It would be a 2-hour above 10,550. Actually, I would be getting short term bullish back up to 10.8, and probably Bitcoin would retake it after that. This would look like a bear trap to the downside with any sort of price action, especially above 10.8. And we could, like I said, we could target the same areas that have been relevant for the last 2 months now. 10.8, 11.1, 11.350, 11.550, 11.8, and 12,050. All those would be short-term moves. I mean, they're realistically like $250 to $300 apart from each other. This is not like too crazy, but my general disposition would just be biased to the upside. I'd be looking for buys. For right now, I don't necessarily feel that way if I'm trading, if I'm day trading. Anyways, what else do we want to look at? Let's look at the very, very low time frames. Is there anything of note right here? Yeah, hourly does say that we're going to get a move relatively soon. Historical volatility percentile is in the single digits right now. Anytime that we get around there, that is usually your signal for a potential move incoming. If you do want to talk about something that can potentially time it, that would be it. Anyways, I probably forgot to talk about what I forget to talk about, the expected moves. Let's go check out the expected moves. This is another one coming from Pig, which I think is really, really useful here because it should naturally line up with all the areas that we speak about. And let's just see if it does. And let me just see what time frame I have it set to right now. Okay, let's maybe take it off of one day and put it to like a 4-hour. How about that? All right, there we go. And let's see. There we go. Okay, sweet. All right, so looking at the numbers right here, it would actually say that a move below 10,100 or even 10,200 is really unlikely today. not 3% chance. Pretty fucking unlikely. By the same token to the upside, what do we see? Oh, Jesus, man, come on. I can barely see it right there. Yeah, we do see actually the first standard deviation hovering right around that 10,550-ish region on the 4 hour. So it is suggesting that we do have about less than 60% chance to even close above there on this next closure. Again, that will change in future bars, which we can look at as well. So what I really want to be seeing is when the 12-hour closes, which is going to be 2 4-hour dildo closures or just one 12-hour closure, which should be more or less the same. So I'll switch it over here. Ah, shit, we don't actually have 12-hour right there. All right, well, in that case, actually, can I do it the old-fashioned way then? Maybe I can. Yeah, actually, we can do it the old-fashioned way. Okay, cool. Let's just put on a 12-hour right here and see what happens. Yeah, there we go. 12 hours showing. Actually, the upside is still relevant here. It's actually within the bounds of the first standard deviation, which is currently hovering right around about 10,700-ish region. So that is of note. That is of note. So I would still be cautious while I have had a little bit more of a bearish view in the short term. Bitcoin does start to close a 2-hour dildo above 10,550. Yes, this is very likely to see another $300 to the upside and probably beyond after that. But for right now, this is all still kind of like playing around with numbers rather than finding anything like super exact, because we see a lot of bifurcation between signals that we're getting in the low term timeframes and the higher term timeframes. So, what does that likely line up with? It likely lines up with like another day of sideways within this range. This range being like 10.3 to 10.5. I hate to say it, man. That's like the God's honest truth with this shit with trading. More often than not, it's going sideways. It's literally going sideways within a short-term range, and that's all that it has to be. And if you are a hodler, well, that's just boring as fuck. And if you are a trader, well, then that could maybe be enlightening as fuck, because it's not always breaking out. So do you always need to play a breakout trade? No, you don't. In fact, I almost never play breakout trades, and I almost always play exclusively ranges. Just seems to work with my personality better, because I don't like holding shit. It takes too long, and it makes me feel uncomfortable, and I absolutely hate going to sleep in a long-term position, where actual risk is on. It's just, there's just not an optimal way of doing it in a 24/7 market. That's what I do miss about traditional markets, is like you are forced to stop. You are forced to stop. It's like, okay, I know all of you guys are degens, so in 6.5 hours, you're done. No more. And guess what? In traditional markets, just so you know, the first hour and the last half hour is pretty much 99.9% of the business. Everything between then is like, most people would just leave. I'm not even joking either. Most people just leave. Just so you know. So for all the people out there who are like looking at the fucking 1 minute chart all goddamn day long, I mean, credit to you if you're having a good time and having a lot of success doing that. But you don't need to. You don't need to. Anyways, yeah, so that expected move indicator right there, you can actually find that in the links in the description below from Pig's website. Anyways, I feel like I haven't been shilling him hard enough. He's a good guy. Anyways, go check out. Do we want to check out Uni again? Jesus, man, this thing's got absolutely shredded. Wow. Sorry, unicorns. It's like, next you're going to tell me sushi coin's gone down too, and fucking sashimi coin. Jesus, man. All right, let's go check out traditional, or actually, no, before we go check out traditional markets, go look at my secondary charts over here. Is there anything of note right now? Uh-oh, my MACD's nuts is turning down having a little bit of a bearish cross right there. But does that actually matter with what we're looking at? Are we breaking a relevant level right now? No, we're not actually. If we broke the 20 simple and we see that cross down, yes, big bad problems. And that's when I really do start to look towards 9,100 and potentially beyond. 7,500 is not that far away either. But of course, weekly closes once a week, and we have to wait until Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern time to see what if and where that closes. Guess where the 20 simple is though? I'll give you one guess. I'll give you one fucking guess. 10,100, or if you want to be super exact, 10,150. So basically on the daily lows right now. So that structure is very, very important. And I do think that the daily closure below that region will essentially front run that call and lead into not only momentum coming down on all the things that we looked at on my primary charts, but also MACD weekly coming down here, which does not shift all that much. And blindly trading this, is this going to be profitable? Actually, mostly it will. It's going to require a shit ton of patience, and it's definitely not optimal. But having crosses on the weekly does carry quite a big stick with Bitcoin price action. The last cross that we had at the upside was right around here, giving out of this space. Now, keep in mind, price action went sideways for a month after that, and then got another like $2,000 move to the $3,000 move to the upside. Oh, forky time! Give me some forks, baby. Oh, go spoon yourself. Anyways, looking at it's a spoon. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. Go back to bed. Someone said, Krown, you used to have so many sounds in your soundboard. What happened to them all? You play the same one every time now. That's not true. Hope you enjoyed that. All right, this one over here, getting the space all the way up for about 4x gain off the lows. Sorry, 3x gain off the lows, 4,000 to 14,000. Bad mental math in the early mornings. Once again, this one over here I think is actually rather enlightening because we did see a lot of snakes around in late 2018 right here. On weekly MACD, but eventually the barrels took over. Actually, this one would have been a fucking nightmare to read during that time. But overall, my point is that it usually gets the long-term momentum rather well. Not necessarily a move that's going to happen like today or tomorrow, but maybe over the next couple months. So I'd really want to see the weekly closure on this one and then see how it kind of progresses throughout that time. Anyways, going down to the daily, which is the one that we've really been keeping a keen eye on here, and this is actually rather important. We got our first daily total closure below the 20 simple on the Bollinger Bands 2 days ago on the 20th. Yesterday was very important because we got our first open and closure below it, below the median Bollinger Band. Again, that this brown moving out, it's just a 20 simple average. That's all it is. And both of them now have a negative slope, the 10 simple and the 20 simple. And we are going to see very, very likely, and I don't have a pig indicator for this one, but God damn it, pig, you should probably just make one for this one as well. I know, I know it's something that you probably don't care too much about, but I'd be interested to see, man, what price action would be needed to cross these babies back onto the downside, as that very likely does beget another test down to the bottom side Bollinger Band, and guess where that is currently situated at? $10,000. Isn't that weird? Everything just seems to agree with each other right now. Did you break your computer? Elsa, everyone. All right, so with that in mind, no? Okay, that took you a long time, so I'm a little bit concerned. Anyways, yeah, as long as we're below the 20 simple, I would be looking for essentially just downside pressure to extrapolate, and guess where the 20 simple is? 10,550. So everything kind of comes down to that region, not just for the short term and medium term to the upside, but also, but also relevant for the downside area as well, 10,000 to 10,100 region. So tight ranges right there. I am basically bearish as long as below 10,550 on a 2-hour dildo closure. If we do get a 2-hour dildo closure above that region, probably do look for a move back up to 10.8. And then if that area does get retaken, I'd probably start to get a little bit more boolah-ish again. Technically speaking, though, 11,100 is the magical number for undoing the dastardly, deadly lower high that is currently in progress, or that is confirmed, but we don't necessarily have a confirmation of downtrend, as we do need a lower low printed as well. Anyways, okay, let's go check out traditional markets. NASDAQ popping back up to 11,100-ish region. I do believe we spoke about that yesterday. Hey, it's actually working rather well on my secondary chart right here, in fact. But let's go back to my primaries. I feel like I'm flying blind right now, and I don't understand it as well. Yeah, looking at it right here. Do we get an extension of bounce? Actually, I do think that yesterday I was looking for another move back down to the prior lows of about 10,007 to 10.6. I do think that we'll actually still get that. To me, this looks like it's trying to put in a local high right here. It has not been confirmed by Caretaker just yet, but I imagine that if we do get a daily, or sorry, not a daily, but a 4-hour closure below 11,100-ish region, that will start to put itself in. And well, what do you know? We have a downtrend right here, and we would have hidden bearish would we have hidden bearish divergence? No, we wouldn't actually. So again, I'm a little bit split here, because you would expect to see something like that if this was going to trend back down, and we're not seeing that right now. So am I wrong to think that this will come back down? Does a buy hourly have it right here? It does actually have it, but that's pretty far back for a 14 period. Is it even present on a 3-hour? It is. Yes, it is actually. Yeah, and Caretaker is denoting it as one right now too. Very interesting. That'll obviously be undone if it does trade back above 11,150. Any sort of a 2-hour, 3-hour, or 4-hour total closure, even an hourly, probably above 11,150. And this actually will initiate a move a lot higher, I do believe. It's actually going to be an inverted head and shoulders right here too, which does have a measure move probably somewhere right around here at about 11.4, maybe even 11.5. But overall, I do look at this one as having pressure to the downside as long as we are below 11.5 on a weekly. Problem is that that's a weekly, and it's not closing until Friday, and more importantly, it's going to take some time anyways. So we can have an ebb and flow on the lower term time frames, play out a little bit of upside right here, while the weekly still remains in bearish posturing. And yes, I do think that we still get a test down to 10.5. But can you make the argument that we pretty much already made that test? I do think you could say that. Yes, you could say that we were $150 off, which I feel very bad about. But a lot of time still to go. I wouldn't necessarily be jumping the gun to buy this signal right here either. Or looking at the RSI right now, it does look a little more bearishly infused, but with a short-term bounce implied. So 11,150 is the area that I'd be keeping a keen eye on. If that area does get taken out to the upside, I would be looking for a further extension for another like 300, maybe even $400 to 11.4 to 11.5. That's the next sort of pivot zone. Until that happens, technically speaking, I'm looking at this as likely to fall and over again. But like I said, I'm not really seeing the things that I'd expect to see here if that is going to play out. So that is that is usually a warning signal to myself, maybe a little more sideways, but I guess I could kind of curtail my my analysis down to as long as it's below 11,150, I am short-term bearish, looking for this to actually come all the way back down to 10.7 or 10.650ish region and beyond. 10.5 still is in the cards. But for right now, it's going to give another try to that 11,150ish region, and let's see how it reacts right there. If it does overtake it, that idea to the downside is gone, at least for now. And I'd be keeping an eye on the weekly and probably look for like a weekly bounce. And this is just going to take some time, likely into October. Looking at E-mini futures for SPYs, bouncing up all the way back up to 3,300, like we spoke about yesterday. And I basically would have the same analysis here, I'd imagine. The daily looks a lot more inherently bearish than NASDAQ futures. Looking at NAS futures right here, this actually looks like it wants to pop back up towards 11.4. E-mini futures for SPYs does not, and if it does, I'd be looking for big resistance right around 3.333. And for right now, the lower term time frames, do we see anything that could potentially sway our decision? It's got a 4-hour death cross right there, so it's going to 0 as always. We do have hidden bearish divergence in play, so yes, finally something that is actually documentable. But as Caretaker has once again reminded me, no triangle right here means no local high has been confirmed. So it's potential. How would this get confirmed as a local high? Well, this would get confirmed as a local high if and only if we do see a 4-hour total closure, or we could probably do this on a 2-hour as well. Yeah, 2-hour would work as well. Anywhere below 3,300 would do it. But as far as it is right now, it's a potential, but not confirmed, and a little bit far away from being confirmed. Bi-hourly does have the same sort of thing in play as well. My look back period is a little bit too short to actually pick it up, but it would actually be showing it there, except for the fact that this is still not a confirmed local high. So again, there you go. Anyways, going down to the hourly, because it actually does matter on an asset like this, looks a little more bearishly infused to me too. All momentum oscillators are kind of a little bit angled towards the downside. So to me, this is it's very, very similar chart to what we see on NAS futures. We could use the same sort of area as I was saying for NAS at about 11,150, for SPY at basically like 33.10, just a smidgen above where we are right now, would very likely do it. And then we could talk about moves back up towards probably 33.50ish region, and then we'll go on from there. Okay, what else do we want to check out? Where did my shitcoins go? Let's see, where actually are they? There's my Butyrol. Yeah, this one looks a lot more bearish to me too. Looks like it wants to pop back down towards 3.337. I do believe over the past couple days we did say it was going to come down to this region, 3.33. If it does start to break this region, okay, this one's actually a lot more difficult than Bitcoin. The reason why I say that is because if I'm looking for wick continuation, I don't really have a good area to be looking at here. There's not an obvious one, at least. If I'm looking for closure confirmation, then 3.335 would be the area that I look towards, and then we could start to look for a big move down to 285, maybe even all the way down to like 260. I suppose an area to be aware of on the way would be, actually this is about 285 right here, so that would be about right. Yeah. let's actually start to mark them off because I think that this could come into play. This one again looks a lot more inherently bearish than what we see on Bitcoin, for example, or across the major markets around the world. So maybe Mr. Buteral is the one worth watching because this is quite the signal right here. We're seeing daily momentum oscillators turn down at the same time that it is basically confirming a downtrend. Yes, indeed, we have high right here, low right here, lower high in this segment right here. Did we close on new lows right here, or did we? Hold on. This one closed 3338. This one closed 340. Okay, so no, we do not. We do not actually have new closing lows just yet. So it is what it is. But any sort of a closing low below 333, especially 6, then yes, I'd be looking for an overall move down to 290 or 285. A big bounce implied there with potential continuation down to about 250 to 260 region. So yeah, not looking all that hot. Not looking like a picture of health and fitness right now. Weethy looks like absolute dog shit, and probably people are talking about a golden cross right here. That's actually wrong. The reason why I say that's wrong is because you need to go to a chart with more history, like this one over here on Finex. No, Poloniex. And that golden cross actually happened a long time ago. Actually, what, 4 or 5 months ago in June. And coming back down to this level around the 200 simple. Well, guess where that is? About 285 region. So this one does look more downside angle to me as well. Weekly RSI is a lot more inherently bearish here too. I'd be comfortable with calling that one a bearish RSI, or maybe not bearish RSI, but does suggest some downside, probably down to like 285 region, at the very least to the 21 exponential moving average, which is currently 310. And remember, we're looking at higher term timeframes right now, so this is not like going to happen today or tomorrow, but with those levels in mind, that would essentially be the more like targets over the next couple of weeks that I'd be looking for. Anyways, what about gold? Gold breaking down. Gold breaking down is definitely good for Bitcoin, right? Because they're correlated, right? Oh God. Yeah, so it did break the level that we spoke about yesterday, 2 days ago. No, it did it yesterday. Yeah, below 1910. 1910 sounds like a good year. Actually, probably not. That was around like World War I time, wasn't it? And I actually listened to one of these podcasts, Hardcore History, about it recently. It was fucking awful, man. It's kind of weird that we don't really learn too much about that in school. We don't learn about a lot of like important stuff in school that I've actually learned as an adult. Okay, that was one. Like, we never talked about World War I in school. You know what else we didn't talk about? We didn't talk about fucking Stalin, like pretty much at all. We definitely talked. I just learned that like he killed fucking 6 million Ukrainians like just by starving them to death. How come I never heard about that? What the fuck? I mean, it's obviously not a laughing matter, but Jesus Christ, like, what the actual fuck, man? Like, what the actual fuck, for real? Like, that's kind of crazy. Anyways, yeah, I'd be looking for a short-term move down here to like 1869 because that's a great number. And would I be looking for a bounce there? Yes, I would be looking for a bounce there. But overall, I think that we would very likely get continuation down to 1820-ish region. Looking at the weekly, yeah, weekly shows 1850, anywhere around that region. I'd be looking for the next bounce. Is essentially what I'd be thinking here. But keep in mind, we're going to be closing the monthly soon. So depending upon how this closes, party could be over for a little bit of time. Any sort of a move down, and especially a closure below last month's low at 1862, is going to make this look like one major massive top. That's a long-legged doji dildo right at the top. Do we have any bear? Well, we don't really. I mean, people are going to say you have bearish evidence coming in from this area over here. Technically, yes, but this is a monthly, and we're talking about literally almost 10 years of history. I don't think that those points are necessarily relevant as of the current time. If we maybe go to a quarterly, we could look at this. Let's go check that out and see if there's anything of note here. Yeah, quarterly actually is going to be closing on that time. So holy shit, if we actually closed the quarterly at like 1800 or 1820, it's going to look like one massive shooting star dildo. God damn, man, that would be absolutely filthy, because it would imply targets over the next 5 years, maybe back down to like 1500 and below. So there's that in the cards too, just so you know. But fair enough. I mean, that's still way far away, and again, when we're talking about a quarterly, we're talking about like years out. So we're talking about years out. All right, Eurodollar, fucking yes, man. Come down, you goddamn piece of shit. That is, by the way, professional secret to get impressed, to do what you want. You just talk shit to it. No, just kidding. But yep, here we go. Finally, motherfucker, for the love of fucking God, finally. 115, I'm still remaining with that target long term. I don't think that it happens this month, but probably in October. That is where the 21 is right now. We are breaking the exponential on the RSI, kicked out of the bullish control zone all at the same time. No, don't do it. While momentum also is turned down at the same time. No, don't do it. While the God mode gives a little bit of a sell signal there too. Yeah, this one looks like it wants to come down to me as well. This one looks like it wants to come down to me as well. It's like someone else had the idea and I just confirmed it. No, I'm having a conversation with myself right here. We actually did take out last month's lows. I would be looking for a bounce within like the 115 region. I don't think that this one's like ready to break down fully like today or tomorrow or even next month. But look at this, historical volatility percentile is getting ready to expand. It's getting ready to expand there. And look at this. Oh my God, it's almost as if sometimes these regressions actually work. Explain that actually. This alert, okay, I don't care. I don't want an alert on that. Why does it always put alerts on that? It's really annoying. This one is, guess what, about 75% full. Does it look like it's going to break, or does it look like it wants to give another test up to this region right here and maybe even break and denote a major change in behavior, or well, I guess it wouldn't be a change in behavior because the behavior is down for the last 10 years, 12 years actually, from '08. Well, it would suggest that this is your next major local high around the 200 exponential moving average as price action turns down. I'm curious what reverse Stoke would say to get price action down. Actually does turn back down around 1.1, so 110. So still got a long ways to go, but hey, it's of the essence right now as we do come closer and closer to the end of the month. Anyways, oh my God, I'm already 40 minutes in this video. All right, let me just wrap this bitch up. This is insane. You should not be watching videos this long, especially me. Anyways, looking at let's go back to my my GDAX chart right here. Looking at this area right here, I am cautious. I'm essentially short-term, medium-term bearish as long as below 10,550 on a 2-hour delta closure. If Bitcoin does close above there, I would be looking for an extension back up to 10.8 very likely. I do feel like a lot of the area in between is kind of fraught with peril, and technically speaking, Bitcoin is tilted to the downside on a daily basis as long as below 11,100. Big ranges right here, and that technically does mean we could rally all the way back up to 11,000 and still turn back down around because we're still just following lower high structure. So that's my problem with this price action right here. The 21 is obviously looming much below at 10,750-ish region. The 55 more so around 10.8. So I do like that area as a nice pivot for the medium term. But technically speaking, 11,100 is going to be the magical number. Above there, yep, can get bullish back on for a move towards like 11,350, 11,550. The same areas, the same fucking areas. By the same token, to the downside, if we were to use this maybe on a 12-hour, what I say, I guess a 12-hour closure below 10,350 would probably do it for another test back down to like 9,900. It does feel like turtle soup here, but I don't necessarily want to jump the gun either. Momentum on the 12-hour, by the way, will remain to the downside as long as below 10,900-ish region. So got some work to do there. If I did have to call this one right now, I would be looking for another move back down to like 10,000 or 9,900. I don't think that we're going to break it right now, though. I think that it would probably provide another bounce, and then we get to come back tomorrow and see it in real time. And that is my cue to say I'd like to wish you the best of the best and the happiest. Take care, and until next time.